Hi everybody, this is Sisi and super happy to report the latest trend for Oahu real estate in the week of December 26th. It's the day after Christmas, and the house is a mess because we're just winding back into normalcy after trips to various places and just trying to get back into the swing of things. And of course, looking forward to 2024. So what's going on in Oahu real estate? Well, a couple of different things. Number one, the rates are really good. Bank of Hawaii with Jack Smythe is quoting a under 6%. Can you believe it? But you got to pay 2 points for that. We're looking at a 6.3% interest rate for 0 points with guaranteed rate. And my buddy Kevin Tsubumoto over at the Kailua Guaranteed Rate Office. And here's Kevin. And so I think that really what it points to is that in this cycle, December, January, it's still very low in terms of activity. So the mortgages, interest rates are trying to, get our attention, and buyers who are on the fence, we are really trying to engage them to say, hey, this is a good time as any, because later on when the interest rates potentially might get lower, you'll also see more competition out there. So that's what we're looking at. And, in maybe a year or 2 years, depending upon how things go, we are looking to have lower interest rates. But at the same time, if you need a home at that point, you're going to be facing more competition and more, and possibly different kind of inventory. So if you're interested, my golden rule is always to see what's out there. If you see something you like and you can afford it, and what does that mean by affording it? Well, it means that you get pre-qualified, you know what your monthly rate is going to be, and you are comfortable with that. And those are some of the things. Your lender can help you. I can refer you to a great lender who can work with you to make sure that you can afford all of these things. And there are a series of things happening in Oahu real estate. Number one, we've talked about seller's disclosure before. And the other thing, we've talked also about the hurricane insurance and how some condos are underinsured, and therefore there's going to be lenders and underwriters that are going to push back on certain condos. So before you get into escrow, speak to your representatives in terms of your realtor to make sure that this building is not underinsured, and so that when you are going through the financing piece of it and your banker has to approve you, they may not approve you because it's a building that has a underinsured, and the banks, whether it's 1 unit or 10 units, they don't care. They need to make sure that the building has the right amount of coverage. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And the other thing is, as we get into condominium sales and everything, you have to make sure to speak to your realtors and really keep in touch with them, and realtors for you to make sure that you are also keeping in touch with the association and the resident managers, because things can change on the fly. If there are minutes that need to be supplied, don't forget, we are obligated to provide those minutes, and things could change with those minutes being presented, because if there are things in there about documentation regarding insurance or maybe assessments that are coming up, it's our obligation as a seller's agent to provide that updated information. But also from the buyer's perspective, it's the buyer's agent's duty also to provide that. And how do you do that? Well, you know what? The only way, for surefire way of doing that, is to be in touch with the resident manager and regularly talk to the association. There are some associations that are not very good at responding, and so having a good relationship with your resident manager, if your seller doesn't know, is a really good way to keep in touch, because that will prevent a lot of things and headaches from happening when you're in escrow and it's down to the wire and there are things that can change. So, often more than not, we have really done that a good job of doing that. But there are always cases, and especially because we're dealing with a lot of different things happening in the condo market regarding the fire sprinkler, changes with the assessments as well as the hurricane insurance. There's a lot of different things where both buyers agents as well as seller agents have to be more on top of it and keep in contact regularly with their various contacts in these condominiums, and also to keep their clients aware of the situation, because it may be that you have to extend. So there's a lot of things happening and shifting in the condo market, especially. So whether you're buying or selling, make sure that you are constantly in touch with the resident manager. And if you are a buyer looking to buy a condominium, this is a logical question to say, well, what's the hurricane insurance policy? Are you fully insured? And ask the lender straight up, like, hey, is this a building that is going to be on the list? And hopefully they know, but that list is ever changing. And we hope that there is somebody that comes into the marketplace that maybe can, solve this gap in coverage. But until that happens, we have to make sure that we know how we are going to be selling those units in those buildings as well as buying them. Of course, if you're paying cash, these things never are an issue. And so that's always the thing. Cash is king, as I always tell you folks. But those are some of the things that are happening in Oahu real estate. And really, it has a lot to do with condos. Of course, interest rate fluctuates. The good news with the interest rate right now, as I said, is it's declining, and it's looking even better than it has in the past. So that's all good news. And as far as the season, well, it's just about to approach 2024, and I hope you folks are all, doing whatever you need to do to get ready for a great year. I think it's going to be really amazing. And just keeping positive, because this season sometimes is difficult for a lot of people, and to reach out and make sure that you are contributing to the community in a positive and healthy way. So that is my wish for you. And with that, aloha, and see you in 2024.
For all things mediation and real estate, I'm your girl.